Hey guys, morning. Coming to you from, I think it's called Del Mar Vista, California, which is like east of Venice, which is actually a really cool place right by the water. So I can see the Pacific Ocean, and I've been out here for about a week and had some interesting experiences. And one of them, which was this weekend, and I just wanted to talk to you about it a little bit and just kind of share some of my learnings, because I've done a lot of processing around it and just kind of thinking about it and feeling what's going on. And so the story, basically what happened is my girlfriend and I, we were taking a bus. We had just gone up to Beverly Hills. I bought her a ring for her birthday, and so we took the bus up to Beverly Hills. The ring was a little bit too big for her, so we were exchanging it. And we went to Rodeo Drive, which the natives out here call it Rodeo Drive, which I thought was kind of funny because if you look at the spelling, it's the same spelling as rodeo. So it sounds like a country song, right? It just made me think of that song, let's call the whole thing off. You say rodeo, I'll say rodeo. Let's call the whole thing off. Anyway, be a good country song. So anyway, we were coming back from Rodeo Drive, or Rodeo Drive, whatever you choose to call it. And we were on the bus, and it was getting, wasn't a bad area that we were in. It was on a public bus, and we were sitting there, and this guy to the left of me in the back, I didn't really pay too much attention to him. He was talking. He started talking, and kind of quietly at first, it seemed like. And it seemed like he might have been on a cell phone or something, or maybe talking to himself. I wasn't sure. He, over the bus ride, he got louder and louder and louder. And of course, he caught my attention, but I didn't turn around to look at him because I just thought maybe he was on a cell phone, but then he got really, really loud. And I could tell he was directing whatever he was saying, which was, most of it was quite gibberish. So he was a nutbag. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if he was on drugs or what it was, or if he was mentally ill. I couldn't really tell, but something wasn't right with him. But he started directing his energy at us while we were sitting there, and I could feel it in the back of me. But I just kind of sat there and just ignored it because we're on a bus. And since I've been out here, I've seen a lot of interesting things on a bus, public transportation. It's like there's often entertainment with the people on there. So I just kind of ignored it. And then we got to our the last stop. We didn't realize it was the last stop because we weren't quite sure where we were going. But it was the last stop. Everybody got off the bus, and we thought we were going to keep going to the next street. Bus driver said, nope, everybody has to get off. I saw out of the corner of my eye, he got off too with everybody else. And then as I was talking with the bus driver, and then she said, well, this is the last stop, so we got off. He was standing there waiting for us in the crowd, and he came at me, nothing physical at first, but still with that energy and just yelling at us, incoherently, about something that was going on. He started calling us names. I could understand some things, but I wasn't quite sure. And then Mary Beth said it was something, he thought he heard something about his girlfriend. So I don't know what was going on with him, but we tried to get away from him. So we started to walk. We walked across the street, and then he followed us kind of far and back for a little bit. And then he started to close the gap as we got to a place where there aren't too many people. And we picked up the pace a little bit. Don't know if that was a good thing or bad thing, because oftentimes that looks like fear. And a predator or anybody, it's human nature, it's animal nature too, that if someone senses fear in you, it actually usually incites them to pursue and attack. So that might have been the case with this, I'm not really sure. But anyway, that's how we proceeded. It got faster and faster, and then he got just too close for my comfort. I mean, a couple feet, maybe 3 or 4 feet away, enough for me to kick him anyway. And we were kind of moving at a good pace, and without a thought, well, there must have been just an instant thought of like, I'm done with this. This is way too close for me. I hauled off and back kicked him in the chest, knocked him back a little bit, and he was kind of startled and knocked back. I didn't injure him. I don't think. Maybe it would have hurt. I think I hurt him a little bit, but I didn't like damage him, break an arm or anything like that. Never got to that point. We never really got into close combat. It was really just at a distance. He stayed at a distance from me for the rest of the time, trying to kind of egg me on and do these weird punches, swinging in the air and jumping with his feet, which was quite comical, actually. He kind of looked like the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. And I just stood there like... So I'm kind of just reliving this and going to get to my point. But I just stood there, kind of, ready for anything kind of thing. But I just observed. And after I kicked him and I turned around and kind of assessed him, he wasn't a threat at all. I mean, like, he was throwing punches, but he was like far enough away for I could have kicked him if I wanted to, but where he thought he was safe from me kicking him. But he was posturing, like, come on, man, you want to fight? Come on, you want to fight, kind of thing. And I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid at all, which, looking back at that, really surprises me, because in the past, with not even situations like this, but I was bullied when I was a kid. I was beat up when I was a kid too. So I've had that fear in me. It's in the back of my head, and it's always controlled me. Is that fear, and it's controlled me in even places where typically people don't feel like they're afraid, like large groups of people, at a convention center, at work, for instance. Like, used to have to do networking events when I worked for my corporate job, and when I first started to do them, I was really, really anxious, because I didn't feel like there was danger, because probably the VP of somebody's not going to come up and try to stab me or something like that, but there was this anxiety in me all the time when I was around people. Never went into a bar. I was freaky to socialize with people, so that's always been in me, and it's taken years to I guess change the story, change how I feel about it, get into those feelings, feel those feelings. And that's the inner work I've been doing with my coaching that I'm doing for my clients, and getting coached by my coach, and also my karate. It's been huge for me. So I wasn't afraid. I was just there, focused, on point, ready to deal with the situation, whatever was going to arise. And it was the oddest feeling for me. So to get back to the story, we kind of faced off for probably just a few seconds or so, and then I just kind of got tired of it. It's like, I'm done with this, and I got really big as far as like my energy. I started to scream at him, ferocious. I started to go toward him, steadily move toward him, and just acted like a maniac, looked like a wild person, like I was just going to destroy him, which I would have if he came near me. I felt a change in him. I felt a change in him actually being afraid. I could see it in his eyes. I could see fear in his eyes. I've never experienced that before. I've read about it. You can see fear in people's eyes, or you can see fear, or animals can see fear in your eyes. I saw fear in his eyes, and he retreated, and then he left. And so, God, it was just an amazing experience for me. So I look back at it, and I'm like, why wasn't I afraid? And this this actually ties in really well with maybe a lesson I'm supposed to be learning, because I've seen it a number of times now. And the universe, if we don't learn our lesson once, the universe will continuously put us into situations where we'll have opportunities to learn that lesson until we learn it. So on the plane ride up here, I actually shared it. There was a Medium article I read, and about not Bruce Willis. I can't think of his name. Jazzy Jeff. I can't think of the guy's name now. He's really, really funny. I can't think of a name. Black guy, really funny, really popular. Anyway, he, in one of his movies, he's whoever the writer wrote into his text is that danger is real, but fear is a choice. And that's where I'm coming at with this, because the danger that I was in was real. I didn't know if this guy had a knife, a gun, what was going to happen. But there was no fear. I chose not to be. It wasn't even a choice. I just wasn't afraid. I just acted. And then once I acted and I was in that situation, then there was no fear. It was just confidence. So my story has changed over the years, from being afraid of everybody and everything, and having that hold me back for my whole life, really, in every situation, networking situations, social situations, whatever it is. It's held me back in work. It's held me back with anything that I've wanted to do, is that fear. Relationships, hot girl on the beach kind of thing. I'd be so afraid to approach her. Try something new. I'd be so afraid to do it, whatever it was. So by going through my processes and feeling what I needed to feel, that fear, that anxiety, that anger against myself for feeling those fears and anxieties, and getting through that and not pushing it away, letting it up for the first time in my life, that's allowed me to come to this place where I'm not afraid anymore. And it's so peaceful. Like I can be on a bus, in here in LA, and at night or wherever, or just walking, and I'm not afraid. It doesn't mean I'm not stupid. I don't go and look for stuff to happen. I don't go out at night and go in places that are dangerous, because, like I said, there's a difference between danger and fear. There's being situationally aware, and not going, like I think the sensei says, don't go to stupid places with stupid people and do stupid things. So I'm not doing that, but just in my general life, I'm just living it, and I'm not always on edge. And there's such a weight off me. There's so much, and I think just that energy for so long of being in that constant state of fight or flight, in a way, just in the back of my head, even though I didn't really aware of it. That's, for one thing, it's very detrimental to your whole body and your mind. But just that sucked away my energy. But now that I'm not in that state, I have all this energy and I have all this joy, and I feel creative, and I feel, like I can go out and experience the world, and I want to experience the world, and I want to do cool things that I never did before because I was afraid. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about this experience, because I think it does relate to every single person on here. Every human being has fear and anxiety about something. And if I make a distinction between physical fear, like fear of life and death and that kind of thing, versus fear of losing your job, fear, and more common things like fear of losing your job, fear of losing a girlfriend, a boyfriend, fear of your not being able to pay the rent, fear, those types of fears. In our minds, there's absolutely no difference at all between us having that fear of everyday life type stuff, or anxiety about everyday life, like, anxious about my job, or anxious about my girlfriend, or anxious about... Our bodies react the same exact way as if we're being attacked by someone. We enter into that fight or flight state, and our bodies do the same thing. So you can, by feeling these fears and anxieties, essentially rewrite your mind and your heart and your body to learn that fear is a choice. Fear is a choice. And it's just a story in your mind. And for every experience we have in life, the experience itself it's just an experience. It's just something that happens to us with no context. Based on our past experiences, we create a story about that experience. And we can choose, we have choice whether to make that story good, or bad. Typically, as humans, we usually make it bad, but there's always good in that story as well. So if we learn by feeling these fears and anxieties and anger, or whatever it is you're feeling, and going through it and experiencing it, and realizing that it's just feelings and emotions. It's natural for all of us to have these. They're not good or bad. They're not anything. They're just feelings and emotions that we're responding to. You come to a place of choice, and you realize you have that choice. And then you can choose what story you want to believe about yourself, about your life, about whatever's going on with you. And then once you choose your story, you can go farther. And instead of just focusing on, surviving, then you can look into your dreams and actually live those dreams, feel those dreams, experience those dreams in your mind and your heart. And that's what drives you toward those dreams. So that's the place that I'm coming from now after the work that I've been doing. Well, I could say all my life, because really it kind of has been. But really I probably made the best gains and really awareness of what I'm doing as a process the past 2-3 years probably, since working with my coach, who she really saved my life by doing the work, by teaching me to feel. So I think that's probably what I'm going to end with, is it's so important for people to feel. Don't push your emotions down. Don't hide from your emotions. Don't run from your emotions. What you resist persists. There's so many different ways to remember not to do that. That's one of the ones that I think is, I remember, is what we resist persists. So feel it. Just feel it. That's the key. That's the key to life. Don't push down emotions. Just feel them. Your head, psychoanalyzing your head and your thoughts will never ever change your state of being. It'll never ever, well, it can change where you are in your life. Like you can become poor to rich, I guess, by focusing on your thoughts, but you'll never be happy. You'll never be happy. You'll still be in the fight or flight mode of being anxious all the time. So, if you're anxious now and you're poor, for instance, or you don't manage that much money, but then you make a lot of money, you're going to be anxious throughout making all that money, and you're going to be anxious when you have all that money. Even though you may be in a really, really well financial state, you're still going to be anxious, and you're not going to know, why the fuck am I anxious? Because I have all this money. It has nothing to do with the money. It has to do with your state and your feelings. So you got to work on yourself first. And when you work on yourself, then the external changes. Because what we feel is what we are, and what our world becomes is what we see. It's like you experience the world from within. You don't realize it, but you do, and you change the world from in too. So, all right, that's it, guys. Just wanted to share that. And I don't see anybody on here this morning, but I hope you guys see the replay of this, and I hope you find value in it. You guys have a great day. Be happy to know your comments and your ideas about this. So, take care. Bye-bye.